5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Another solid day for India as India not only have tightened their grip over this test match, but now they are on the verge of winning this test match. It's just the matter of time and the formality of 7 wickets as the game happened today. So it was Ashwin's day, as we say, vocal for local. So the crowd was vocal for the local boy, Ravichandran Ashwin, as he hit another brilliant century, fifth century of Ravichandran Ashwin against an opponent other than West Indies, because his past 4 centuries came against the mighty West Indies. But now it was England, 106 for Ravichandran Ashwin, and as the day unfolded, also it's the third time that he picked 5 wicket haul along with scoring a century, only behind Ian Botham, who has achieved this feat 5 times. So this was it. We'll also talk about the pitch. There was a lot of clamor made around from England as well, and from here as well, that the pitch is too dangerous and this and that. So we'll talk about that as well. Now I have my expert joining alongside, Mr. Shirish Nadkarni. Hello, sir. Welcome.
Good evening.
And yeah, good evening, sir. And the happiness, the smile on your face depicts the result of this match, which we'll eventually get tomorrow.
Well, I'm really happy that we are going to level the series. So there's going to be 2 more games to play at Ahmedabad. But at least we retain our chances, most likely, of course. Cricket continues to be a game of glorious uncertainty. So you can't say whether the Englishman will bat out the next 2 days. But it seems highly unlikely. And it is most likely that the match may be over in the session between lunch and tea tomorrow. And if it is, then the series will be level at 1-1 and India will retain its chance of getting into the World Championship Test finals against New Zealand. Of course, as you said, the focal point of the day, the great thing that was achieved during the day was Ashwin's 106, a century and a fifer in the first innings. And let's see how many he gets in the second innings, although he's going to get a healthy competition from Akshar Patel, as I mentioned 2 days ago, that Akshar is going to be very, very difficult to play on this pitch because he's accurate and he's quick through the air and it fizzes off the pitch. So Ashwin with his variations and Akshar with his accuracy. This is going to be a nightmare for the Englishman. And therefore, I don't know whether Ashwin will get another fifer in the second innings. If he does, then he will have upstaged Rohit Sharma for the title of man of the match. Otherwise, Rohit's innings in the first inning was absolutely out of this world. And that is what has really got India into this position of strength. I mean, to get 161 and 26 in the second innings. That is really a standout performance from Rohit. And equally from Ashwin. So I don't know whether you can give joint men of the match to both Ashwin and Rohit Sharma. I'm sure if Ashwin achieves 5 wickets in the second innings as well, then he will have upstaged Rohit Sharma for the title. But it would be a travesty of justice because Rohit's innings was really right up there.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely. And now also, if we look at this point in time, he's picked 1 wicket and fifer in the first innings, 100 in the second innings. So yes, he's definitely the top contender for MOM. But now a couple of pertinent questions in this regard, which is the talk of the town regarding the pitch. I was listening to Gavaskar sir during the pitch report today in the morning, and he said that this pitch has no demons in it. And Rohit Sharma, Ajinkya Rahane, Rishabh Pant, they displayed how to bat on this wicket, because when our batters or when our team tours abroad and we are served with a green top, we never complain. But instead, we curse our batters and criticize them for not having that skill and technique to bat on those green surfaces. So now, when you are in India, you should have that skill, or you should possess that skill to bat on these turning tracks. Because, sir, one more point which was very much highlighted during Shirista is sir, you are back.
No, I
Am
was
I
there.
audible, sir?
I've been there all the time, but you went off for a little while. Go ahead. What was the question?
Okay, so after the first test, it was highlighted that the toss is a very crucial factor. As far as toss was a very crucial factor in the first test, because the kind of wicket which was served for both the teams. Now in the second test match, toss wasn't that a great factor, because the wicket was turning and gripping right from day one. So to say that it's a shocker and to criticize the wicket, because in India you'll get you want to play on turners. So these are the turners where the game is open for both the teams right on the first day. So what's your take on that? And one more thing he mentioned, that he coined a term called rondru, because he said that the people always they are the same people who always complain, no matter what sort of surface you provide to them.
Well, what Sunil Gavaskar said about the Englishmen is absolutely correct. They keep whinging and whining about every little thing. And I was not surprised that they complained about the pitch. We haven't complained when they provide us with green tops in Northampton and Oval and Lords and so forth. But I still feel I have been among those who complained about the quality of the pitch, because there were puffs of dust coming from the first over itself. And that was very unhealthy, I felt. I feel that we have the nucleus of a team which can be a world beater on any kind of surfaces. We don't need to doctor or tailor a particular surface to try and beat all the other teams, especially this English side.
Correct.
I don't think we needed to doctor a surface to help us to beat them. I mean, if we had lost the toss, they might have been held to pay. Might have been. I'm still saying, yes, Rohit Sharma played a gem of an innings. Ajinkya Rahane played a gem of an innings. So did Rishabh Pant. And then in the second innings,
and even Ashwin today.
Ashwin keeping everything going with 106. So, yes, our people have shown how to play on this wicket, as Sunil Gavaskar very correctly pointed out. But I continue to feel that we can be the best test team in the world without having to doctor pitches to suit our spinners. I really feel we should have a sporting wicket that lasts 5 days. I don't see this wicket lasting 5 days.
Okay. And one more thing, because this wicket is not dangerous as far as your physical condition is concerned, because I avidly remember a wicket in Johannesburg Wanderers third test match when India toured to South Africa 2018. It was the first series of that Senna cycle, and Murli Vijay sustained some nasty blows. Even other batsmen also sustained. That was a dangerous wicket, and no one complained. Even Graham Swan and Shane Warne tweeted that England should actually increase their skill level rather than just complaining and crying wolf about the wicket. And one question regarding this from Arjun Verma. He's asking you this, that is the pitch bad or the English batters lack the skill? India had 2 centurions and more than 600 runs over 2 innings on the same pitch.
Well, Arjun, you've said it already in your question. So, I mean, you've literally answered your question yourself. The pitch is not really a test match wicket, in my opinion, but it is the same for both the sides. and our batsmen showed how to bat on this particular wicket. Three of them in the first innings, like I said, Rohit Sharma, Ajinkya Rahane, and Rishabh Pant. And then in the second innings, you had Virat Kohli and Ashwin showing you how to play on this particular kind of track. And none of the English batsmen have been able to show this kind of application or this kind of skill level. And as Utkarsh pointed out, this is not a dangerous wicket. It is not physically dangerous to the batsman. So it requires just skill levels. And I think as far as skill levels are concerned, our English batsmen are far ahead, far superior in playing on if you can call it an underprepared wicket or a wicket which is breaking up right from day one. Our batsmen have got far better skills managing this than the English batsmen. At the moment, England is just a little bit beyond 50 with 3 wickets gone, and it really should have been 4 wickets because Joe Root was also palpably leg before wicket, but was not given by the umpire. So at 53 for 3, it should really have been 53 for 4. And that means the match would have been over because Root is the backbone of their batting. Well, yeah. Root gets another chance to bat tomorrow morning, but he's going to find it very, very difficult to take care of a relatively fresher Ashwin, because Ashwin, after all his heroics, was a little bit tired. You could see he was fatigued. And even in the interview at the end of the day, he mentioned that, I'd like to put my feet up and have a nice sleep today. When he comes back fresher, he will be a handful. And Akshar Patel, as I said 2 days ago, he's going to be a real handful on this wicket because he bowls flat, he bowls fast, between 90 and 96, 97. That is the standard pace of his ball. And he gives the batsman no chance at all to, lift the bats, literally. The moment they lift the bat, they're in trouble. So these two bowlers are going to be the trump cards for India tomorrow. This is what I feel.
Also, do you know who is the most relieved today and who won't come tomorrow? He is Jack Leach. He's bowled. He got out today. He came as the night watchman. So there's no need of him to come back tomorrow. He'll just rest in the hotel. Now, so talking last comment regarding this pitch one. India, do you think that India didn't concern about how the pitch was, how it played, whether the explosions of dust happened or not? They were oblivious of this and they batted. Instead, on the other hand, Englishmen, they took it as a psychological hurdle, and with that hurdle, they batted. So this was the difference, do you think?
Definitely, India did not play as if the pitch had been a minefield, which is what the English batsmen seem to have in their minds, that this pitch is just impossible to play on. We've got to try and survive. That wasn't the way the Indians played. See, Kohli made a mistake in the first innings by going for a cover drive, going forward for a cover drive, getting beaten by the pitch of the ball and the huge amount of turn that Moeen Ali got and getting bowled. He changed his technique in the second innings. If you saw, he was playing very much with bat and pad together, and he was not allowing the ball to turn and come in to that extent. Not to the extent Moeen Ali. Moeen Ali got a huge amount of turn, but he also bowled a whole lot of bad balls, which gave the Indians a chance of keeping the scoreboard ticking, which is not the case with Ashwin and Akshar Patel. These two bowlers are very, very accurate, and so is Ishant Sharma for that matter. So it's going to be very hard for England to get a bowler in the opposition of whom they can score. Mohammad Siraj is bowling well, although he got just a few overs in the first innings, and so is the Kuldeep Yadav didn't get too many overs earlier. But even if he does not bowl in the second innings, the other 4 bowlers are very, very miserly as far as conceding runs are concerned, which means there is pressure at both ends. And with the pitch assisting them, as I think it was Sunil Gavaskar himself who mentioned, this is the kind of pitch on which you don't try to turn the ball. You try to just pitch the ball in the correct spot. The pitch does the rest for you. The pitch is very helpful. And that is what our Indian bowlers are doing, and which I think neither Leach nor Moeen Ali did with any huge amount of accuracy. They tried to turn the ball. I mean, Moeen was turning the ball square, but
Yeah,
in many cases it was missing the edge of the bat for that reason.
yeah. We also saw, as you mentioned about Virat's change in technique. We also saw that in the second innings against the off spinner, the Moeen Ali, he came to off stump and then batted close
He took
to
off
his
stump guard,
pad.
which is amazing. He took off
Yeah,
stump guard, which nobody,
and
normally does. You take either a
yeah,
leg stump guard or a middle stump guard. He took
middle
off
stump
stump
guard.
guard and made sure that whenever he was struck outside the line of the stumps, so that the LBW went out of the equation.
And against Jack Leach, he was batting right there on the middle stump.
Normal. Yes.
So this was the change which needs to be noticed. Also, one question for you from Arjun again, that is umpire's call for DRS making such sense? Has the
Making
time
much
come to
sense.
take the umpire's call in favor of the bowlers in an already barman-friendly game?
Yeah, batsman. It should be batsman-friendly game. Yeah, absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Arjun. Umpire's call for DRS is is causing a lot of heartburn. I mean, that last decision, which allowed Root to escape and live to fight another day, well, it was completely out and out. He should have been given out, but the umpire on the field had given the decision in favor of the batsman earlier. So the third umpire had no choice but to go with umpire's call. I think it is time the ICC technical committee took a look at this particular point, and if there is good evidence to show that the batsman should be out even after the umpire on the field has declared him not out, then the decision should be reversed and the batsman should be given out. I genuinely feel that this umpire's call business should be looked at again by the ICC.
All
You're welcome, Arjun. This is what I genuinely feel.
Yeah.
Utkarsh, your mic is off.
Also, sir. Yeah. Also, sir, one more thing that you mentioned about the freebies. The difference between English spinners and the Indian spinners were that both got a good amount of turn and bowled on lengths. But don't you think that English spinners bowled 3-4 good balls and after that offered a freebie either in the form of a short half cracker or in the form of a full toss?
Yes, that is why the English spinners could not maintain pressure on the batsman from both ends. There was always a bad ball which came both from Leach as well as from Moeen Ali. And, once you get some scoring opportunities, the batsman automatically gets that much more of confidence to play the next over. Whereas when the Indian bowlers are bowling, they keep the line very tight so that the scoring opportunities are very few and far between. And therefore, if you see, India was scoring continuously at the rate of more than 3 runs per over right through the innings. Hi, Monty Paji, nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you as well. It's been an interesting day of cricket, hasn't it? Like at one point, you kind of thought when Virat Kohli, Ashwin came out to bat, England could wrap this innings up very quickly. But it was Ashwin's day, and kind of shown that everyone's been talking about. Well, some people have been using the term, this wicket's like bowling on the beach. But I can certainly tell you, on this beach, it's been a great Indian party.
On spot.
That's a good one.
On spot.
Ashwin was
actually we were discussing this only.
Incidentally dropped on 3 occasions. He got 3 lives. I mean, which is unusual for the English fielding. I mean, Ben Stokes dropped a hard one in the slips. And there were 2 other lives which he got, one from Ben Fowkes as well. So, I mean, Ben Fowkes blotted his copybook towards the rear end of the Indian innings. Otherwise, he kept brilliantly right through the Indian first innings and for 2/3 of the Indian second innings. Would you agree?
Yeah, look, I thought it was a great day for Ben Stokes because, honestly, he was. He took the moment of the day was, I think, when Rishabh Pant came down the wicket and he took that amazing stumping. So
Yes.
he's obviously, really like getting into the game and using the opportunities to showcase his talent. And it's something that, England may have to consider, for games outside England. Should we go with Ben Fowkes because he's been brilliant with the way he's able to, adapt and also to show his wicket-keeping skills.
Yeah, he stands up to the spinners really, really well. I mean, he gives the batsman no chance at all. You saw how Rohit Sharma was off. He was just a little bit forward on the stroke,
was electric.
and foot on the line, and he was on. He was gone. I mean, brilliant. It reminded me of Dhoni at his best.
Yeah. Correct. I also had the same feeling because he didn't take his hands back. He just
Back at
from
all.
there only
Exactly.
he did it. That was
The ball in the same motion
was,
of the bails. Yes.
Yeah, that was an electric stumping. Paji, also we were talking about the pitch and you already mentioned it. So I was asking Siri sir about the difference between the Indian spinners and English spinners. That is what we felt because both were consistent, bowling at good lengths, but the English spinners offered a freebies after bowling 3-4 good balls, either in the form of a half tracker or in the form of a full toss. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, that I think that's what was the disappointing thing. Like I think you can see Virat Kohli, he made adjustments to his game. That ball which was,
we talked about that as well. Yes.
Moeen Ali was thinking, get him to play, into the covers, but he just got a huge stride out, batted on off stump, and just defended that ball. So then I think what Moeen Ali needs to do is keep his consistency, but then just change his pace, change his trajectory, change his seam position. But he doesn't tend to do that, and he just tries to bowl the sort of, I think he likes to bowl slightly slower. That's his, style of bowling, and you can see that he's able, his length isn't quite there, and he's releasing the pressure. And I think that's what's going to be the frustrating thing, for England. That even Jack Leach, bowling really well, but then again, when Virat Kohli kind of like smothers their stock delivery, they don't seem to have any variation. I never saw once Jack Leach come over the wicket to Virat Kohli, bowl into the rough.
Yeah.
Just for like half an hour, let's just soak up one end. One end, we're just going to go patient, have a couple of men back. So if he's going to hit, trying to hit a boundary, we've got a few men back, have a couple of catches, and let's see if he changes his game plan. You never know, you may get one ball spitting out of the rough, catches his glove, or even bowl him. But Joe Root never looked to do anything like that, and I think he didn't have a good day as a captain today. These are the sort of game plans. I think Jack Leach himself should be taking a bit of more ownership and thinking, right, he's smothering my stock delivery. He's got a good game plan around the wicket. Let's go over the wicket. Let's bowl it into the rough.
Yeah.
From that angle, he may have a different game plan.
One question for you, Paji. Is this a new ball game? When the ball gets soft, even the spinners don't get the same zip and batting is more manageable.
Yeah, look, I agree with this. I talked about this at the start of the England-India series. When this ball gets soft, it doesn't matter if it's a turning track. It's so slow off the pitch. It's so easy to bat. And even if you bowl a good delivery, it doesn't, you need the pace off the pitch to get the batsman out. And it's so slow. So what ends up happening is actually the batsmen have more confidence. They know that, if it's slightly short, they'll go really deep in the crease, let the ball turn, then they'll play the back foot drive, and then they're happy to sweep because the ball is not bouncing as much. And if it is bouncing, it's going to be the odd one. It's not every ball. So by chance, if you don't edge it, or if you don't, get a top edge, you can put that past you because every ball is not going to, extravagantly turn and bounce. And I think that's where I think, the likes of, Jack Leach probably has to adapt his game, change positions at the crease, vary his pace possibly. And something which I don't think he did. I think he was just looking to bowl the magic ball and bowl his stock delivery. But the Indian batsman got very used to that.
In fact, I think the master of variation is Ashwin. He keeps trying, different things with all 6 balls in the over. Very rare to see him bowl the same particular ball, in succession. If he bowls a standard off spinner, the first ball, the second ball will not be a standard off spinner. It might be the one that goes straight through. There are a lot of variations. Sometimes the knuckle ball. Lot of variations, and the batsman is constantly kept on his toes. Also because Ashwin is so darned accurate. He does not stray. His length does not stray. Unlike Leach and Moeen Ali. Moeen Ali kept providing a whole lot of full tosses or even half trackers for the batsman to release the pressure. So maybe there's something for them to learn from what Ashwin has done in this particular test.
Yeah, look, I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah, Pali.
Yeah. No, I agree with you that Ashwin's able to control that, but it's a seam position as well. Both, I think, Akshay and
sometimes
Ashwin.
the scrambled seam, sometimes the straight seam. Yeah, absolutely. He keeps changing the seam position.
And that's something I think, the English spinners didn't do, because eventually, the good players will spin and the batsman would have a game plan against, your stock delivery. You've got to change it up a little bit and have the confidence to do that. But I think they just felt that, the stock delivery will get wickets. It did, but, it got India in a really good, strong position.
Yeah.
You remember yesterday I mentioned that Virat Kohli is unlikely to declare and that he's likely to grind the English team into the dust the same way that they got done in the first test. That's
absolutely. Absolutely. I remember playing, and you always remember, the days when you had to field, long days in the field, and you kind of think, well, I want to do the same thing. So I think this time around, India obviously had the joy of doing that. And again, it kind of shows, winning the toss. Whoever wins the toss first is going to be, in a dominant position. And some people are even talking, is this a 4-match test series or a 4-toss series?
Yeah, that's true.
Also, as you mentioned about not declaring, also he may have that in mind that as more and more they will bat, the wicket will deteriorate. So that possibly could be a reason.
See, Utkarsh, it's like this. There is so much of time in this game. There is 2 full days. That means 6 full sessions plus part of the 7th session on the 3rd day evening. So there was so much time. It's unlikely that any team can bat this entire period through on that particular minefield of a pitch. So I think the idea was, okay, you guys made us scrounge and snivel and scribble in the first test. Well, yeah, you have something of your own medicine back. Something like that, I feel.
Yeah. Now coming to the man who owned the day and who's the local boy, Ravichandran Ashwin. Sir, do you remember, Shirish, once during the Australia series, the post that we talked that he bats, he bowls, and he mentors. He guides the players. So today also he did the same. He bowled in the first innings, batted in the second innings, and he's a continuous guiding light for the youngsters. So I would like both of your comments on Ravichandran Ashwin and his game today.
If I can ask Monty Paji, if you were asked to adjudicate between man of the match, between Rohit Sharma, who got 161 and 26, and Ashwin, who got a fifer in the first innings, 106 while batting, and possibly a fifer in the second innings. Suppose he gets, presume for the sake of argument, he gets a fifer in the second innings. Whom would you give man of the match trophy to?
I'll give it to Rohit Sharma because I think like the game was won during the first day, the session between lunch and tea, where Rohit Sharma played beautifully and really took the game out of England's hand. Now, if India got bowled out for, let's say, under 250, with another 120 plays, they would not got bowled out for that less. It would have been quite similar because, confidence as well, and also knowing, when Joe Root came on to bowl after tea, you could see the frustration when he bowled. He's thinking, gosh, this ball is turning and bouncing, guys. What are you guys doing as spinners? You need to be much more proactive. And I think that reaction said it all that first day when Joe Root came on to bowl. You kind of sense that India got far too many, and Rohit Sharma's innings was a match-winning innings. That was like scoring 250. It was like a triple century, really. On the Chennai pitch.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I completely agree.
And Paji, about Ashwin now, coming back to the question about Ashwin, your comments on Ashwin, the way he batted, he bowled, and the way he has been a valuable asset for the team, and the way he has been performing. We've seen Ashwin 2.0 right from the Australian series, and the way he batted in Sydney, that 33 runs, it wasn't a half century, but how much confidence boosts this kind of innings? The innings which he played in Sydney, the match-saving innings, he was the match savior along with Hanuma Vihari.
Yeah, look, I think when Ashwin bats really well, it helps his bowling. It helps him to think like what is a batsman thinking? How is he thinking that I'm going to get him out? And that when he's batting well, it allows him to think that way. And I think that's why he's such a great cricketer. He's able to apply himself as a bowler, but because he's batting really well, it helps him to think like a batsman while he's bowling spin. And I think that's what makes him so successful as an off spinner. He watches batsmen. He's thinking, right, I know how they're gripping the bat, or I know their stride length, or what they're thinking, and then he adjusts according to that. So I think that's why him scoring 100 today, and the longer he batted on that pitch, he kind of knew what are the good deliveries, what deliveries are going to be easy to play, what are going to be difficult, what are the ones not to play, how to set the batsman up as well. So he's been unbelievable for India, and he's I think he's only scored 300s, and 3 times he's scored 100 and a fifer. So he's second behind Ian Botham, and to ever do that.
Yeah, he's only second to Ian Botham. Botham's had 5.
He can be if as Sir mentioned, just presume for the sake of the argument that if he takes fifer in the second innings as well, so he'll be the 4th after Ian Botham, Imran Khan, and Shakib Al Hasan to be a player to take a 10-wicket haul 10 wicket in a match along with a century. So this record also awaits Ashwin if he does so in the second innings. Now. Yeah, sir, please.
I feel that he's going to get a lot of competition from Akshar Patel. Akshar is going to be pretty unplayable tomorrow. What do you feel, Monty Paji, between the two? I mean, Ashwin is the better bowler, certainly. But Akshar on this wicket is going to be quite a handful.
Yeah, because Akshar, you can see when he first came on to bowl, the ball was turning and bouncing big. But then you can see how he adjusted. He adjusted his seam position, got it a lot more squarer, and still, bowling, as he does. But he's trying to get the ball to run on with his arm, and as he does that, then the ball doesn't turn as much, And all you need is a couple of balls to turn big. That's all you need, And then
to create a doubt in the mind of the batsman: is the next ball going to turn, or is it going to go straight? Right.
Yeah, and then you can just bowl it with the arm, or you can look to turn it, but maybe have the seam pointing towards point, and then that allows the ball not to turn as much. It just turns enough to beat the outside edge, and then he just adjusts his line. He just bowls it just outside off stump, bowls it a bit fuller, and with this trajectory, because it's slightly flatter, you kind of think, oh, I need to go on the back foot, but he's bowled it full. So that is that's a lovely bowling of left arm spin.
So for a debutant, he's done really well, isn't it?
Yeah, he's done really well, and it's helped the conditions are in their favour. And if any spinner watching on turning pitches, is actually getting the ball to turn less, so you can beat the outside edge, get the edge, or get the batsman out. And also, that non-turner where you just, run it on with the arm, don't get your fingers, over the seam as much. So then the ball just, skids on, is actually the ball that's more of a dangerous ball on these turning pitches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And on debut first international wicket in the form of Joe Root, he definitely enjoyed it, and he said in the press conference that when he was seeing Joe Root bat in the first test, he had that in his mind that if I'll play the next test, my first international wicket should be Joe Root, because he bowls quicker, and Joe Root was sweeping with aplomb in the first test. So it would be difficult for Joe Root to sweep. So he had that in mind. So this also speaks that he was mentally prepared for it, and he had a ready-made plan for to trap Joe Root. Also, as Graham Swan and Shane Warne mentioned yesterday in their tweets, that instead of criticizing the wicket, apply the skills. So today the local boy came up and displayed that this is the application of skills, and wicket is not bad, but you need to apply your skills on this wicket to bat. Now, also about Virat Kohli's captaincy, another Virat Kohli, the way he captained, his bowling changes, his fielding changes, a more aggressive field, which is his nature. Closing fielders today also, we saw that he himself was sitting at silly points. So, Paji and Shirisa, your comments on Virat Kohli's captaincy. Paji.
Yeah, look, it makes it a lot easier when you got so many runs on the board. And also Virat Kohli, it was a big innings for him. He batted really well, and especially getting out in the first innings where he kind of was, he didn't want to walk off the pitch. He couldn't believe he got out like that. So I think it must have given him a lot of pleasure in the second innings to bat and do really well. So from that point of view, I think it helps his captaincy, and I think he's back himself. The aggressive Virat Kohli that we see. I think that's Virat Kohli. While Ajinkya Rahane is a bit more relaxed, I think this aggressive approach is what everyone's used to.
Paji, can you figure out why Joe Root gave Ben Stokes just 2 overs in the first innings and none in the second innings? Stokes was there as the 5th bowler in the side.
Yeah, it's. I think sometimes when when I'm bowling spin, I'm always saying to the captain, "Give me the ball, I'll get the wickets." But because the ball is turning so, you see some of the balls and you just think, "Wow, it's turning and bouncing," and I'll just keep the spinners on. Eventually, if they keep bowling their stop delivery, the batsman will get out. But that, I think, works in England, in county cricket in England. That strategy works. But I think in India, that's where Joe Root should have maybe mixed it up. Maybe should have got Ben Stokes to bowl some, round the wicket bumpers, aggressive into their body for a few overs, and then got the spinners to bowl from the other end. Just change it up. And I think that's something that maybe Joe Root, once he sort of reviews this Test match, will think maybe I don't want to get caught up in the turn and the bounce of the wicket. If the Indian batsmen, I've got to use my gut feeling. If they are playing comfortable against spin, regardless of the turn, and maybe bring the likes of some of the seamers on and actually just bowl it short and see if it changes their game plan.
Yeah. And he underutilized Broad as well. Severely underutilized Broad. I mean, you could see the frustration on Broad's face today when he was eventually called to bowl. He didn't want to let go of the ball. Hey, I want to bowl 3-4 overs.
Yeah, very much so. And I think that's the bit that everyone's questioning. If they're playing Broad, then why aren't they getting him to open the bowling? And, like how Jimmy Anderson is used at the start of the innings. So that's something that I think Joe Root, got it wrong today. I think he should have come on a lot earlier with a new ball. And who knows, Ashwin may not got that 100.
Yeah. Broad was brought in the 45th over, I clearly remember, and he also made a chance, a tough one, because keeper was up and Ben Stokes at first slip, he was at his normal position, so a tough one, but he dropped it, and Ashwin, as Sir said, he got three chances in his innings, but as a phrase says that fortune favors the brave. So Ashwin was destined to be a centurion on his home ground. After Krishnamachari Srikanth, who struck a century in 1987, he's the second player to strike a century in his home ground at Chepauk. Also, last question before wrapping up the show today about the fans, the presence of fans, and the how the fans inside the stadium inspire the players. Even when the chips are down, we saw the visuals of Virat Kohli continuously asking the crowd to roar more, to be more vocal, more louder. Even the grand reception which Ashwin got when he walked on the field. So the effect of fans being present in the stadium.
There's no question. The moment there are fans in the stands, the player's psyche gets lifted automatically. And you try to perform better because there are people to watch you performing rather than performing to completely empty stands. I mean, as I'm a badminton player, basically, and I've played a lot of international badminton. And
Yeah.
only rarely do we find that the stands are completely empty. And on such occasions, somehow you can't rise to the occasion. You can't play as well as you would like to. When there is a lot of people in the stands, automatically something from inside responds to their affection, their catcalling, whatever. I mean, they may not necessarily be on your side. They may be screaming against you. They may be screaming for the opposition. That's okay, but it lifts you. What do you feel, Paji?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it makes a huge difference with fans coming back. And I think that's where I felt that, in the first test, England did really well. But when the fans coming back would probably, test England, how they respond, because the fans are going to be so supporting India. But then how do you deal with that pressure? How do the youngsters, in that intense heat with the crowd roaring, how do you pull yourself back together? And it's going to be, great to see tomorrow. Hopefully England can fight back and show a bit of, class and not sort of, collapse like a pack of cards, because that would be really disappointing. On a turning pitch, you probably won't come these conditions very often, but when you do, you want to see, can my young team, Jerry will be asking the questions, can the young players stand up to the likes of Ashwin and Akshar Patel and really show some fight? Because, there are still another 2 test matches to play, and Johnny Bairstow comes back. Who knows, if he, I'm sure he'll probably play, but you always want in the back of your mind as an England selector, thinking, on a tough 4th-day test match, I had some of the youngsters coming in and showed some fight.
Yeah, definitely. Most of the players in the team are touring India for the first time and playing India first time on turning tracks is not so easy. So that's it for today. Thanks a lot for joining. We'll meet tomorrow.
I must ask Monty Paji, what is your prediction of an English score in the second innings?
Yeah, interesting.
What do you predict will be England's score in the second innings tomorrow? We seem to be having a technical problem.
Yeah.
Paji, can you hear me?
I think his screen is frozen. So
Frozen.
no worries. Yeah. So let's meet tomorrow, and hopefully we'll discuss whole of the test match, because as we meet tomorrow, we'll be having the result. In front of us, and hopefully we hope that there is a tough contest between bat and ball, but the chances of happening is possibly very less, or looks very bleak. So that is it. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time. Do join us at 5 p.m. and do subscribe the channel, press the bell icon so that you get notified whenever we come live. Thanks a lot, Shirisa. Thanks a lot, Paji, for joining.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, viewers. Thanks a lot, Arjun.
See you tomorrow.
See you.